Hi guys, it's Brittany. So today's going to be an incredible movie facts video, and here are some interesting facts on The Lost Boys. 1. The movie was filmed in only 3 weeks. That's not long, but I think maybe depending where they had to film the movie, I guess it just probably didn't take that long, and it was just only for 3 weeks. So that is quite interesting, if I may add. It is. Because I know maybe with some other movies, it might take like maybe 6, 7, 8 months, I think, depending where where the location is at. Depending if they have to go from one location to another to probably the set. Um, so I think it pretty much all depends, but only in 3 weeks. So that is not bad. That's actually um, pretty good because the movie did turn out good. So nice. 2. The characters in the movie say the name Michael approximately 118 times. That is a lot. So with each character in the movie, they say the name Michael um, approximately 118 times. That is a lot. I mean, I'm not sure why that is, but I think it was just what it was written in the script, but that is a lot, to say one name um, throughout the whole movie. Um, but then again, it turned out good, you know. Um, but that's like with each character though, because each character have been saying the name Michael. I think it just depends on the situation in the movie, and it depends um, who is calling out to the character um, in the movie as well. So it just depends. That's a lot. 118. My gosh. 3. The names of frog. No, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I messed up. I'm not thinking. I don't know where my mind went. 3. The names of the Frog brothers, Edgar and Allan, are a reference to Edgar Allan Poe, the well known writer of horror fiction. And I have heard of Edgar Allan Poe. I have heard of him, and um, that I did know. And, well, with the fact that the Frog brothers, Edgar and Allan, that they are a reference to Edgar and Allan Poe, I didn't really know that at first. But then, of course, up until reading it, I was like, oh, okay. Then I thought, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Because, yeah, I didn't quite get the reference at first. I didn't. Because it just didn't occur to me while watching the movie. I'm sorry. I mean, for those of you who probably have caught on to it, maybe first watching it, uh, good, good for you. But I'm sorry, it did not occur to me at first because I was just pretty much, just, I was just pretty much watching a movie, just watching it, and even watching it the first time, yeah, like I said, I just didn't catch that. I just didn't catch the reference of that at first until I read about it. I was like, oh, interesting. 4. Jim Carrey was considered for the role of David. He previously portrayed a vampire in the film Once Bitten, 1985. I have seen that movie, Once Bitten. I mean, I don't know. It. I think there are some things that could have been different, but other than that, it's still good and funny in its own way. But now, honestly, with this fact, now when I read how um that Jim Carrey was considered for the role of David, I was like, okay, what? Kind of like how I am right now. Like, I'm laughing a little because I'm like, I love Jim Carrey. I do, and he is a really great actor and such a funny comedian he is. But even when I had to think about it, like, okay, just think of this. Just think of, let's say, what if Jim Carrey did took the role of David? Let's say if he did, then that means somehow maybe the way he probably would have played the role would have been somewhat different because I think not only uh I don't know, I think it just probably would have been different, and I think with the character might have had somewhat of a funny side to him, considering um how funny Jim Carrey is. And to be honest, I can't really picture that. I mean, as I love Jim Carrey, like I said, I do, but somehow I just can't picture it. Like I just can't picture Jim Carrey playing the role of David because, well, I just can't seem to picture that because I'm like, well, um, I think maybe he probably was considered for the role at the time, but of course, I think they had to cast someone else for the role. And to be honest, I'm glad they did, and I'm quite glad that they cast Kiefer Sutherland as David because he did such a good job playing that role. So I have to say he was like the perfect choice for that role. Because to picture Jim Carrey playing David, I just can't see it. I can't. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, I just can't see it. So yeah, I think it was best that Kiefer Sutherland did got the role instead, because like I said, he did such a really good job with the role, and it was a quite it was really quite an interesting performance to see that. So yeah, good choice. But interesting fact though, that one somehow I couldn't um stop thinking about because like, wow, who would have thought? You know, I didn't know. This fact is gonna be a little bit long, so try to keep me try to in a way like keep up with me when I'm saying this. 5. The original screenplay, written by Jen Fisher and James Jeremias, was originally about a bunch of Goonie type 5th and 6th grade kid vampires, with the Frog Brothers being chubby 8-year-old Cub Scouts, and Star being a boy instead of a love interest. The original inspiration came from James, who caught up upon the notion that Peter Pan could fly, visited Wendy and her brothers at night, and never grew old. The simple notion that Peter Pan was a vampire. Joel Schumacher hated the idea and told the producers he would only sign on if he could change the characters into teenagers, as he thought it would be much sexier and more interesting. Well, now with the original screenplay, yeah, I don't think it probably would have turned out as good, you know, because I think maybe it would have been different. Where I don't, I don't think the movie would have been where it's probably as good as like it is right now. And to be honest, I have to agree. Well, with Joel Schumacher, like when he said that he would only sign on to direct the movie if he could change the characters um, into teenage vampires, as he thought it would be much sexier and more interesting. Now, I would have to say I agree with Joel Schumacher right there, and indeed, if and it was both, it very was indeed both. So I completely agree with Joel Schumacher right there for for making that change in the movie and for having such a great cast in the movie and such great performances by everybody. And the way it turned out, it just became a really great movie that everyone seemed to love. And I have to agree on that because I didn't quite watch it at first, but believe it or not, I did first just watched it like not too long ago, back in April. And here's the thing, I have been watching it since whenever I get a chance to watch it. And yeah, it seems like each time I watch it, it's just really good to watch. And it seems like the more I watch it, the more I like it, the more I enjoy it. So I agree with you, Joel Schumacher, on that because it was indeed both on that part. So thank you for that and directing such a great movie. Six, every year at the landmark Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk in Santa Cruz, California, this film is screened as part of the Park Free Summer movie series. Beachgoers may bring outdoor furniture and supplies to watch after sunset. Many features of the town shown can still be recognized, most notably the rides and games of the boardwalk itself. Now, that is quite interesting. And to be honest, I would like to do that one day. Like, I would just like to go to Santa Cruz and go there during the summertime and actually watch The Lost Boys um, as a what? As a free summer movie series. So yeah, I actually would love to do that because I've never really done anything like that before. You know, where I'm going somewhere and there's this big screen outdoors. You know, kind of like the drive-in except different. So I never really done anything like that before. So that's something I would like to do. And yeah, that is quite interesting. 7. A year after the release of this movie, Alex Winter portrayed Doctor John William Polidori in Haunted Summer 1988. Polidori wrote is considered the first modern successful vampire story. Now, I never really heard of that, you know, up until I read it. But now that is a movie I will watch and check it out. But wow, that's another interesting fact. And yes, I know I keep saying that, but it's true when I say it's interesting because it is. 8. In the documentary Blood Sucking Cinema 2007, Corey Haim said that all the blood had glitter in it to give a shimmering effect and was similar than other fake blood. That I did not know. I did not know that they put glitter in the blood to make it like to give it a shimmering effect. That is that is again interesting, and I'm like, wow. Well, because they did a good job with it with the movie and all. So good job on that and everything else. Okay, so this is probably another long one, but maybe not as long. Okay, now some of you may or may not know this, but let me know in the comments below if you do. 9. David is impaled on a pair of antlers and doesn't disintegrate like the other vampires. Despite what Max later says, he is not really dead. This is what intended to be picked up in the sequel, The Lost Girls, which was scripted but never made. In the Wildstorm Comics miniseries, The Lost Boys: Reign of the Frogs, 2008, which helps bridge the 20-year gap between films, it's implied that David survived the impaling. So, so yeah, in this scene where where Michael picks up David, and because they were fighting, so when he turns around and pretty much impales him on a pair of antlers, and when it looks like David is dying, and by the time he looks like he's dead, um, he actually doesn't die. He doesn't. Now, to me, I think he doesn't because in the comic books it does say that he did survived the impaling. When he was impaled by the antlers. So I'm thinking somehow when that happened, that when it looked like he died, maybe in a way he was probably unconscious. I don't know. Did I say that right? I meant unconscious. Yeah, I said that right. But in case you didn't know that, now you do, because now you know that when you do watch that scene towards the end, he doesn't die. Because in the comic books, it said that he did survive the impaling and that he's alive. And of course, that's something we don't get to see. And yes, Joel Schumacher was gonna do a sequel called The Lost Girls, which of course we were gonna see how. I think we were gonna see how David is alive, but yet The Lost Girls, of course, is like a group of girl vampires that no, of course, um the main characters are female characters, but they're also vampires, and I think that's something I would have really liked to see. Like how the story would have been a bit different after that. But yeah, in case you didn't know that, now I do. And here's the other fact. Well, the last fact, in case that you also didn't know this. 10. In the scene where Sam and the Frog Brothers stake Marco while he sleeps, they are pursued by the rest of the vampire gang as they try to escape back into the daylight. David grabs Sam's leg, but Sam manages to drag David's hand into the sunlight where it catches fire. A tear then slides down his face, was actually caused by Kiefer Sutherland's contact lenses, which were staining terribly, but they decided to keep it in as it looked really good was in context. Um, And the reason why, of this reason, that his contact lenses were um, staining him terribly is because of the fact that the contact lenses that they had to wear, in their vampire form, they were made out of glass. Yeah, and you heard right. The contact lenses, um, for those characters, for those actors to wear in their vampire form, was made out of glass, and that's why in that scene, um, when you know, it's like I said, when David's head is catches on fire, and then you see a tear that slides down his face, is because of Kiefer Sutherland's contact lenses were staining him terribly. And that's, like I said, that's because the contact lenses were made out of glass. And when I actually heard about this, I was actually shocked. Like, what? Glass? Like, oh gosh, like, no wonder. Like, no wonder it caused that. No wonder it caused that, because the contact lenses were made out of glass. I mean, gosh, I feel bad. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry you went through that, and I feel bad for you right there. I do. But then again, of course, the shot of the scene did turn out good afterwards. As you can see how it turned out. So if you want to look back on that scene, you can always check it out. Check out that scene on YouTube, and yeah. Or whenever you do watch the movie, keep that in mind. And no, it was because of that reason. And it's like I said before, and again, I apologize that it caused that. I can't imagine how painful that must have been, and I'm very sorry for that. And I've actually heard that they were made out of glass, so that way they could stay in. I think so that way it won't become loose. But still, I mean, that would probably cause some irritation. So I feel bad about that. But anyway, so that is all for today. Um, so that is all the facts on the Lost Boys, and tell me if you've learned something new on this video. And yeah, I know I did. And tell me, which fact do you like? Which fact is your favorite that you know or probably don't know? So that is all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.